An offer to me to plead guilty to one felony, and I just could not see my way to pleading guilty to a felony. It was, I wouldn't be able to stay in my law firm. That was the reason that I chose not to do it. And ultimately, the deal they offered me was to plead one guilty to one count and have a year sentence. In Virginia, if you are a good prisoner, you get good time served for every day that you're not causing trouble. So I should be able to get out in 6 months.
How did you think, how did you anticipate you would be received by the bar or by clients or generally, and then what was your actual experience?
I thought I would be absolutely 100% shunned by every human who ever knew me, except for maybe my mom and my brother. In October, the Workers' Comp Commission hosts an annual conference. Everybody that is involved in the universe of workers' comp goes. It's adjusters, clients, risk managers, lawyers. There's like 500 people usually. I was so scared to go to that thing. I tried a little practice run. There's an organization called the Inn of Court, which is comprised of plaintiff lawyers, defense lawyers, and the judiciary, that I was involved with setting up in 2014. I was on the steering committee for getting that going. So through this organization, I met these people and got to know these people, and they became my friends. They hosted an event, and it was a few weeks before this big conference, and I thought, gosh, I really should go to that thing. And I was too scared. I was too scared to go. And I didn't. And then the conference came. Well, I have two paths right now. I can wither, shrink into a dead flower, and leave the scene of workers' comp. And I think about what my life would be like in that way. And it's so not me. I'm an extrovert. I'm super social. I love meeting people. I love being around people. And I just had these images of people talking about me, saying like, my God, yeah, did you hear about what happened to her? It's so sad. She used to be so involved and was like this, shining star. And now she's like a shell of herself. Whenever sees her, she's a recluse. And I just kept picturing that and was like, I can't do that. That's not who I am. And then the other path was, okay, I surface. And how am I received? Like, let's say I muster up the courage to surface and attend this conference and to throw myself back in. What if I'm shunned? What if everybody says, how dare you? What makes you think that you are good enough as a human being to be a part of us again? What if every time I walk by, they're just whispering and people are giving me the, hairy eyeball and shunning me? Like, that would be horrifying for me. The rejection, I've always had an issue with fear of rejection, or judgment, fear of judgment. There was more of a chance of me being able to resume a life if I conquered the fear and showed up and jumped back into life. So I decided, I got to do it. I got to try. And I went into this conference and I drove into the parking lot and I just sat there and I looked at the rearview mirror and I just started talking to myself. I'm like, all right, it's showtime. You got to go. You got to do this. And you got to do it now. So I got out of my car and I went. And I had to go down this familiar escalator because I've gone to this conference since 1995. I got to go down this escalator to get to the main concourse. And so I'm standing at the top and I'm like, oh my God, everybody's just milling around like their normal day. Nothing's changed for anybody else in the whole world. And here I am at the top of this escalator about to face like one of my biggest fears ever. And I wanted to throw up. I was so scared. So I took a step on the escalator and it starts going down and I get about a third of the way down and I'm like, my God, I can't do this. Like, are you insane? You can't do this. Like, these people hate you. They're going to hate you. So I turned around and I thought, I'm just going to go back. I'm going to go back to the parking deck. I'm going back home. This was a big mistake. I'll try next year. And then I started picturing myself running up this escalator. And as this thought process is happening, I'm getting closer and closer down to the bottom, obviously, because, it just keeps moving. And I'm imagining myself running up this escalator and not getting anywhere, and like a hamster in a hamster wheel. people looking at me going, what the heck is she doing? And it was just funny that that image clicked in my brain. And I thought, okay, well, I obviously can't do that. It's funny that I was worried about being embarrassed or looking like an idiot, but I turned back around and then I looked down and I thought, oh my God, I'm almost down at the bottom. I could just get off and go back up the other way. And I was going to do that, get off, go right back up. And I looked up and there was one of my competitor attorneys that I've known for years standing at the bottom. And he did a double take when he saw me. And when he realized it was me, he just stood there and he opened his arms and waited for me. And I got down to the bottom and he hugged me. And then somebody saw it and was like, who's Adam hugging? And they saw it was me and they came over. And then more people came over. And it was, like being the guy who hit the game winning walk-off home run and years and everybody comes up to me. It was like that. And I was stunned.